Hey folks, welcome to the show today. My guest today is going to be Dr. Patrick Rohde, who's a pathologist from the University of Illinois, and we're going to talk about how to use diagnostics. You see the hat up here? Hey, Keith Westerfeld, thanks for sending one in from Blueville Nursery. Remember folks, keep sending the caps in as we'll keep using them on the show. Today, when we're with Dr. Rohde, we're going to talk about how you can use diagnostics with your veterinarian to get better answers to things that are going on in your farm or ranch.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with our guest from the University of Illinois, Dr. Patrick Rohde. Thank you very much, Doc, for being here.
Well, it's a pleasure. Pleasure to watch a lot of episodes, and it's interesting to be on this side of the camera. So it's really an honor. Thank you. Thanks.
Well, the honor is ours, and Dr. Rohde is a clinical assistant professor at the University of Illinois in the diagnostic laboratory, and he's a diagnostician and a pathologist, and someone that I've gotten to know through the EVP class that we do together, and being classmates, and it's an honor for me to have you here on the show. University of Illinois doing so many good things in the CVM. Y'all are growing and especially in the diagnostic lab. And so let's talk a little bit. Give me some background on, what are diagnostics, and what are some of the things that when you sit there and think about, well, what is it we're doing?
Exactly. So diagnostics are the steps that we take to identify disease, whether it be in an individual animal or a herd or a production facility. And it's an important step. And because of it's so important, we want to really maximize. It's an investment, really, and we want to maximize the return on the investment. It can be costly, so we really want to maximize what we get out of it. So,
and I think that as a practitioner, when I'm sitting there looking at, okay, do I take samples? Do I send them in? Are these the appropriate samples for this type of case? And what are the odds of getting something back that's really going to make an impact, right?
Exactly, and that's what we're going to talk about, is really to maximize the potential that you have for diagnostics. And I think one of the first important steps is, should you submit specimens for diagnostics? Should you do that? And really, diagnostics should be really drive your decision-making process and those results of those diagnostics. If you submit diagnostics and no matter what the results are going to be, it's not going to change your game plan, whether it be for treatment or preventative medicine. You probably shouldn't be doing those diagnostics. So if it doesn't change anything, it might not be worth doing. And I think if you constantly ask yourself, should I submit this for a diagnostic sample? And you tell yourself, well, maybe shouldn't submit it because it's really not going to change anything I do. Excuse me. You might be submitting the wrong specimen or requesting the wrong test. And I have an example of that if you want. If you have a cow and you're worried about Johne's disease and you submit serology on an individual animal and it comes back positive or negative, if it's really not going to change any your plan for that animal, then it probably was not a worthwhile test to do. And maybe you requested the wrong test. For example, if we did a PCR test on that cow with Johne's or possibly Johne's, that would give you a lot more information as to what to do herd-wise. And
so really making sure that you work with your veterinarian, make sure that you're getting the right diagnostic tests. And I hear you say, okay, making sure you get your return on investment. But I think the thing that most producers and veterinarians need to understand is that it might cost you more by not doing proper diagnostics than it ever does by doing diagnostics that yield no results.
Absolutely. The real cost of disease is not the investment of the diagnostics necessarily, but it's the loss of production, and it's the mortality and morbidity on that farm. So not doing diagnostics and not minimizing that loss of production is much more likely to be more expensive in the long term than just the initial investment of diagnostics.
Well, folks, great information. Great diagnostician, University of Illinois, Dr. Patrick Rohde. We're going to take some time for some messages, and we'll be right back.
To To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Patrick Rohde, who is a clinical assistant professor at the Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory at the University of Illinois College of Veterinary Medicine, and a wealth of information on diagnostics and in the beef industry. And Patrick, one of the things that we were talking about during the break is not all diagnostics today are something that, it used to be everything went to a diagnostic lab, or maybe you had a little micro lab in your vet clinic, but now we have different options, right?
Absolutely. I think there's 4 different kind of levels of diagnostics. And again, it's kind of a mixture between the producer and the veterinarian. They're both involved with it. And most of the diagnostics up front is in the beginning of an outbreak or an individual sick animals. Actually, it's the producers that are diagnosing those. And I kind of break diagnostics down into kind of 4 different levels, if you would. Distant as in, you don't need to be really close to these animals, you don't need to touch them, but the producer, and this is ultimately the producer, he sees that these animals are sick. They're not acting right, they're not eating, they're having trouble breathing. So it's almost like that 50-mile-an-hour diagnosis. You look at these animals and you see they're not right. So that's a diagnostic step, really. Another way is to look at records and look at production. Production's down. My calving intervals increased. My, dairy producers would be my milk's down. That's a way of diagnosing disease, possibly. So that's kind of the initial step of diagnosing, and that's usually producer-driven. And then you kind of have cow side, where it could be a mixture of veterinarians and producers, where you get these animals in the chute and you look at them, temping them, you're doing physical exams on them. So you've got some kind of cow side diagnostics, and kind of a step beyond, or part of the cow side diagnostics would be do maybe some ClinPath data. And when I say clinical pathologies, usually we mean taking specimens from an animal and looking at urine, milk, or
Right.
so forth. So, and one example would that be to maybe take some urine from a cow to check for ketones. So these kind of cow side diagnostics that you get results right away.
Yeah, and now we're seeing some cow side, SNP and SNAP tests for BVD, PIs, and things of that nature. Just gives us an answer sooner,
Exactly.
and something that we can start a treatment or a quarantine or something of that nature just a little bit earlier.
Exactly, absolutely. And that's the advantage of these quick cow side tests, and that's why that would be the ideal test if you could get an answer as you're next to that cow and get a prompt answer so you can make some decisions quickly.
And I think that's one of the things, too, people don't recognize is that y'all in diagnostic laboratories, while people say, well, we're not going to be sending samples in, so the diagnosticians are out of a job, you're actually helping develop these tests, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that, like I said, the goal is to get as much information to the referring veterinarian and producer in a quick and timely manner as possible, and accurate information, too. So.
It amazes me the way that technology is going. What other type of samples do we have?
So we can
diagnostics?
So we can do some diagnostics in-house or in the clinic of the referring veterinarian. We can do chemistries, complete blood cell counts, electrolytes, and then some veterinary clinics are actually set up to do some microbiology, say milk cultures and so forth, in the house or in-house diagnostic testing.
Yep. Well, I think that it's a good time to take a break, because we'll come back from the break. We're going to talk about sending samples
Absolutely.
into y'all. But folks, I think one of the things that you need to understand from Dr. Rohde is you can do things yourself on the farm with different kits. You can work with your veterinarian to do them in-house, and if you have something you want your veterinarian to provide for you, who will work with a diagnostician as knowledgeable as Dr. Rohde. And we'll come back after these messages to learn a little bit more.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
I'm Rexanne Strew, veterinarian in Western Iowa. I have a veterinary clinic and started doing stem cell therapy on dogs in August of 2014. And after the first 2 dogs, after 3 weeks, I saw such dramatic results. I said, hey, I have arthritis. I have joints, really need this help. Where can I go to get this done? I had stem cell therapy done in November of 2014 on my finger joints, my hip, and the ball of my left foot, all of which I'd had real severe problems with. Saw a pretty dramatic improvement in a short amount of time. I would certainly recommend that somebody don't wait until I'm in the position that I was in with the damage already done to my joints. I encourage veterinarians to use it for their animals, and I encourage anybody who sees this video, if you have need, get in contact with these people because this is a phenomenal place to have this done.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Patrick Rohde, who's a clinical assistant professor at the Diagnostic Laboratory in the College of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Illinois, which y'all have a beautiful campus. I got to go over there a couple of times. And
A bunch of beautiful old buildings. It's absolutely, we just love just walking around campus and looking at the old brick buildings. We have a beautiful quad for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
And it is what I picture when I think of
College
and a beautiful Midwestern campus and that. And you also have an excellent veterinary school and diagnostic laboratory where you obviously see cases and things to that nature. So talk to me now. We've talked about things we can do on the farm or in-house in our vet clinic. Talk to me a little bit about what we're going to be doing and maybe some stuff on sample submission to you to help you.
Absolutely. So a veterinary diagnostic lab can do anything your in-house clinic can do, plus more. So we can offer microbiology, virology, parasitology, and then really our kind of molecular testing is a really big thing right now, and it's just getting bigger. And then tissue analysis, such as histopathology and so forth. So that's really where we come in as a diagnostic lab. That kind of sets us apart from what you can do in their clinics. And so when you've got the sample and you've got tissues, you've got specimens that you want to submit to the diagnostic lab, the next kind of logical step is which diagnostic lab are you going to use? There's several out there in the United States, and you need to make that decision as where to send these tissues to.
What are some of the things that you would, if you're sitting out there in practice or as a producer, that you would think would be some of the things that go through your mind on where to send them?
Absolutely. I think the most important thing, but before I answer that, is that the producer and the veterinarian should be involved in this decision-making process. The producers ultimately paying for these tests. A lot of diagnostic labs will charge veterinarians, and then they'll in turn charge the producers. So I think they should have some say in where his or her samples are going to.
Yep.
But things I look for everyone brings up cost, and that's important. So you need to look at the fees of the diagnostic lab. That's really important when we're dealing with a lot of samples. If you're submitting thousands of BVD tests annually, and you can find a lab that does them for 50 cents per sample cheaper, that adds up in a hurry. If you submit 5 specimens throughout the year, it's probably going to make less of an issue. Location too, you need to get these specimens to your diagnostic lab, especially if you're dealing with entire animals for necropsies or autopsies. You want to probably pick the closest one, but if you're mailing things, you can the sky's the limit for that.
Yeah, and when I'm mailing things, I'm thinking of, okay, where's the expertise in this area?
Exactly.
Who's seeing a lot of these cases? Maybe I'll get it to them.
That's a really, really good point, and I think that brings up another thing to consider when choosing your diagnostic labs is the personnel. A test is a test for the most part, but the personnel, people are interpreting those tests, people are running those tests, the people that are interpreting, histological lesions. I think the personnel is really important, and like you said, I can ship things. If I'm in Illinois, I can ship things to pretty much anywhere and find the right person to interpret that tissue. So,
well, let's take a break because this is a person that you want to be sending some samples to, Dr. Patrick Rohde at the University of Illinois Veterinary Diagnostic Lab. We're going to take a break here from Doc Talk. We'll come back with a wrap-up on diagnostics and how you can use them on the farm or within your veterinary clinic here on Doc Talk. We'll be right back.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This Prevention Works Minute, brought to you by Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica, Inc.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Thanks for joining me on our Prevention Works Minute. When we start to think about preventing disease, a lot of times we think about the reason why animals get sick, either an overwhelming dose of a pathogen or a suppressed immune system. When we have a suppressed immune system, most of the time that's due to stress. And one of the things that I really focus on with our feedlot crews and stocker crews is low-stress cattle handling. I think it's vitally important that cattle are handled and acclimated in a sense that we make sure that we do not increase the level of stress when we're handling. Make sure that they're exposed to you before you ship those animals, making sure that they understand the commands and that they're acclimated, so that when we ship calves to the feedlot or when we bring calves off the truck at the feedlot, we're practicing good low-stress cattle handling. Will increase the immune response because we decrease the amount of stress that we see in those calves. And we all know that prevention works.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
We are Mike and
Martha
Armitage here at the A-Bar Ranch, Claremore, Oklahoma. We have a cow-calf production company, and we also have a marketing company. We have entertained groups brought to us by the Beef Checkoff, such as South Korean media that covered our operation and brought the good news back to South Korea.
That was a really neat experience, and that we got to have young people from another country that we got to experience a lot of different things in their culture, but got to share our culture too.
We live on the Squaw Creek Ranch. Here is a division of the A-Bar Ranch.
As a wife and a mother, and also with my background in more of a health field, I look at just the nutritional value, and it's great that the Beef Checkoff offers that kind of information to the consumers that are out there.
We both are proud to come from agricultural, more specifically ranching backgrounds.
My dad is a part of the Beef Checkoff board, and so the Beef Checkoff has been something that we promote and that we support what it has to offer.
Not everybody who's in agriculture is tech savvy on Facebook and through social media. Most people in the city happen to be, and they are very disconnected from our day-to-day routines, and that's one thing that makes me proud of the Beef Checkoff, them going to bat for us. From those who aren't necessarily anti-ag, but just simply don't know and they aren't getting the information.
As producers, we're strong supporters of that and hope that many of you out there realize all of the different things that the beef checkoff brings to the table for us as producers.
Healthy cows start with the new Hired Hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new Hired Hand makes healthy cows easy.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Patrick Rohde, who's a clinical assistant professor in the diagnostic laboratory at the University of Illinois College of Veterinary Medicine, and we're lucky to get him here on the show, taking a break from his schedule. So talk to me now. I've sent in my samples. You want to talk about how to get the most out of your results.
Yeah, you've decided which diagnostic lab you're going to use, and now you want to maximize. You want to get the most out of that diagnostic lab, and how to get the most out of it would be to understand it and to know it. You want to know what tests they run, and really probably the most important thing is which specimens they need for each test. If you're looking for a specific disease and you don't provide the right specimens, they might not be able to answer your question. And in food animal medicine, production medicine, we often have just one chance to get that animal and get that specimen. We've got the animal in the chute, we might not be able to get that animal back in the chute to get the proper test or to get the proper specimen. So knowing ahead of time which specimens are needed for each test is important. At the same line, knowing when these tests are performed. Some tests are ran 5 days a week, some are ran 2 or 3 days a week. So knowing that, you can help time when you obtain your sample and then when to submit it and provide the best sample to maximize the chance of finding the correct answer.
Yeah, and so if you have a chance to plan ahead,
exactly,
then it's a fresher sample, it's a more timely results, things of that nature.
Absolutely. And knowing the turnaround time, so you can tell the producer, okay, I'm submitting these things, they're running this test tomorrow, their turnaround time is 4 days or whatever. That way they know too, and know the cost of the test that you're going to be requesting. How do you know your diagnostic lab? So I think the easiest way would be to go online and look at their website. I mean, there's so much information on the diagnostic labs websites.
Yep.
Some of them are better than others, some of them are more user-friendly, but I'm amazed how much information you can get from just looking at a diagnostic labs website. Every time I go on Illinois, I learn something from there.
Well, I do the same thing. I go on there and I see what kind of cases people are seeing. I see what the tendencies. It's kind of like a local Center for Disease Control.
Absolutely.
That'll let me know, hey, this is vector season, so be looking at mosquito or tick-borne diseases. Or
absolutely.
This is winter, so we're having some lice issues, many different things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, it's usually the most up-to-date information. When we talked about timing of tests, which specimens are available, which tests are available, period, usually the website is going to be the most current information. And a lot of diagnostic labs have submission forms on their website too. So you just click in which test you want and submit. So.
Yep. I've even seen on diagnostic labs where you submit the test and then you can follow the case through electronically.
Exactly, and see where the progress is. A lot of diagnostic labs have apps now that you can actually just see real-time results, so that's really interesting.
My dad was in the hospital, and now he can look at his own vitals. Online in the app. You don't even need a nurse to come in and tell you. But I sure do appreciate you being on the show.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure, absolutely. Thank you.
Well, folks, Dr. Patrick Rohde, University of Illinois, wealth of information. Want to send a shout out to old Keith Westerfeld there at Blueville Nursery, Manhattan, Kansas. Thanks for sending in the cap. Remember, send in your caps to us, folks. We'll get you on the show. But remember, always work with your local veterinarian. And if you want to know more about what we do at Doc Talk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Patrick Rohde. We appreciate you watching the show today, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.